Hello and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. This is your host, Frances Vidakovic, and on this podcast, I'll be sharing with you the most valuable strategies to live your one wildly beautiful and most precious life. Because this is it, my friend. In case you haven't guessed, when it comes to life, there's no rewind or pause button that exists. They say that the way that you spend your days is the way that you spend your life. So my one and only goal here is to help you stop wasting your time, stop holding yourself back in life, stop experiencing non-stop negative mind chatter, stop just dreaming without doing, and start living life fearlessly instead, with more purpose, focus, and intention. I sincerely want you to live life in a way that when you come to the end of it, you know deep down in your heart that you 100% gave it your all, flaws and all. This podcast is not about doing life perfectly. Instead, it is about experiencing and living life with more clarity and courage and truly appreciating this precious adventure that we are so blessed to be on. So if you're with me here today, it's time to stop spinning in circles, get off the hamster wheel for good, put your hands back on the steering wheel of your life, and finally start living life in a way that you won't later regret. With that being said, let's dive on in. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. If you are a parent with me today, you are in for a special treat. So I wrote an incredible book a few years ago called When Bad Parents Equal Great Kids. It was all about the perfect guide for imperfect parents, and it questioned the following hypothesis. If bad parenting supposedly, in inverted commas, equals bad kids, and good parenting supposedly equals great kids, how come it sometimes goes the other way? What if everything that you think is so terrible about parenting, about being a parent, and the way that you're doing things isn't really so terrible? And what if you could technically be a great parent even when society deems some of your parenting behaviors to be less than desirable? So that book was for any parent who's ever wondered if they're less than perfect parenting skills, and I think we can all pull up our hand and say that we feel like we're sometimes less than perfect. This book was for anyone who'd ever wondered, am I causing permanent damage to your kids? And it was also for any parent who needs to absolutely know the truth that sometimes good enough parenting is actually more than enough. So my little special treat for you today is I'm going to be sharing with you 3 chapters from this book over the next 3 episodes. If this content at all resonates with you, I encourage you to go and check out my course, Be a Better Parent in 30 Days, which is really the simplest, easiest way to totally transform the relationship that you have with your kids in just a month. Yep, just a month. I've had hundreds of people go through the course. They've all raved about it. And I know that it is definitely possible for you to also transform the relationship that you have with your own kids, no matter what their age and no matter how you've been showing up until now, okay? Because that is all about to change. So until then, why don't we dive into this chapter, this special episode from one of the favorite books that I've ever written, When Bad Parents Equal Great Kids. Okay, so I am so excited to share this particular chapter with you because it's really timely for me, given that my kids are a little bit older. My daughter's just finished high school and my son is about to go into the 11th grade. So this is all about good parents, or so-called good parents, having this really clear expectation of where their kids are going in life, whereas so-called bad parents have no idea where their kids will end up. And before I go any further, I'm really putting my hand up to say, I have no idea where my kids are going to end up. I really don't. I can hope and pray that all will be well, but other than that, I really do not have any idea. So let's start by talking about these so-called good parents. Okay, these good parents are planners who have a very clear vision about where they expect their kids to end up in life. Maybe their plan is for their kids to be a doctor or a lawyer like their mum and dad, or maybe they want them to be a teacher or a nurse like someone else in their family. Maybe they already have a plan for Susie to go to this particular college. It's got to be this one. Or Billy has to enter this particular field of work because that is what is best for their child. Okay, they've already decided that that's what's best. And that's what mum and dad are thinking. But Susie and Billy aren't really getting much say in the matter. But according to these good parents, it doesn't really matter because good parents know what is best for their kids. Their parents are pushing for their kids to succeed. Their parents are pushing these big plans for their future. They've already decided, okay, this is what is best for you. And according to these parents, their kids' future and horizon is so blindingly bright and so obvious that it doesn't actually matter if their kid can't actually see it for themselves. Okay, their parents are doing the deciding for them. And before I go on any further, I have to interject. Yes, these sort of parents definitely exist, and no, I am not one of them. So bad parents, on the other hand, so-called bad parents, okay, and this is where I say that I am one of them. They often shrug their shoulders when asked about their kid's future. Sure, they recognize their kid's potential, okay? They might see that their kid has a particular gift or an aptitude in an area. And sure, they do hope that their kids will follow a certain path and turn out to be, good, decent, hardworking human beings who fall in love and get married and find great jobs and so on, because we genuinely want the best for our kids. but we understand that there is an element of risk in every area of life. We understand that sometimes our kid isn't going to want to do what we want them to do. These parents understand and respect the fact that they might not want to go to college, they might not want to get married, they might not want to have kids. They understand that you can never assume to know how anything will turn out. Sure, you can secretly hope that things will go your way, but you can't assume it will happen without a shadow of a doubt. You can't, because life is unpredictable. Life is fragile. Life is full of twists and turns, and you don't always get what you want. Just like we used to tell our kids, you don't always get what you want. We as parents sometimes don't get what we want. And sometimes what happens when we don't get what we want, our kids get what they want. And sometimes you get something better than you ever dreamed of when you allow them to follow their own heart. Now, I have to say that when I talk about so-called bad parents having no idea where their kids are going to end up in life, I don't mean to imply that there's only two extreme options for the offspring of these bad parents. That, one, they can be successful, or two, they're going to be, homeless living on the streets. What I mean instead is that these so-called bad parents understand that the world is their child's oyster. These so-called bad parents intuitively understand and comprehend that no one in this world can confidently and 100% predict what lies ahead of us in the future. Just as it's true for us, it's true for our kids, because things can change in a heartbeat. Things can change without you even wanting them to change. And we also understand, so-called bad parents understand, that kids and teens and adults will make 100 decisions over the course of their life, each with the potential to lead them down a different path. They also understand that their kid's potential is truly limitless. Maybe their child's going to end up living as an artist in Paris. Maybe their kid is going to run a deep sea diving business in the Caribbean. We don't really know. Like, maybe they're going to become a stay-at-home mum or dad and live happily ever after without ever caring about the work stuff. We don't know. And it doesn't really matter as long as our kids are happy. So this is why being a so-called good parent in this example might sometimes backfire. If it isn't obvious to you yet why so-called good parents might eventually struggle in life, especially if they insist on keeping this really unrealistic expectation of how their kids should behave and how they should turn out, let me give you a little clue. Blessed are the flexible, for they will not be bent out of shape. And here's another little quote that I absolutely love. If you can't be flexible in life, you will become irritable with life. So let me explain. Okay, we're going to talk about hypothetical Susie and Billy one more time, or any other real children that you might be raising who aren't puppets or dogs that can be trained to do exactly what you want them to do. Kids have a heart and mind of their own. Okay, I've definitely worked that out now that I have teenagers. If you haven't worked that out, you will definitely work it out at some point in your parenting journey. Kids have their own desires and dreams. They are unique individuals with their own unique personality. And this means that while they may be listening to everything that you tell them to do, all your little requests when they're tiny and little, that's not always going to be the case forever. Okay, our kids weren't born to fulfill our long lost dreams. Here's the thing, our kids have their own life to live. They have their own dreams to chase. Dreams that you might not even be aware of, okay? Shock, horror, yes, okay? They were born to do their own thing, not your thing. And remaining flexible in all areas of parenting is a requirement for your survival. If you want to thrive as a parent and if you want to stay sane, allow your kids to be who they were born to be. Now, if you're lucky, you might like or you might love the choices that your kids are making in life. I do genuinely hope for my own kids and for yours that they pick a career path that actually makes them feel happy, that they genuinely enjoy doing, and hopefully they will have relationships with partners who treat them with the dignity and respect and love that they really do deserve. But there's just as much a chance that you might not like their choices, and it's okay. And if that's the case, we may just need to suck it up. Sometimes they have to go through the bad to get to the good. We don't know what lies ahead for our kids. I mean, our parents didn't love everything that we did they? No, probably not. Chances are there were hundreds of moments where they just had to step back, bite their tongue, and let us do what we felt was right for us. Okay, that might not have been their preferred option, and maybe they thought that they knew better, but they had their chance to make mistakes, and we had our chance to make mistakes, and our kids are going to have their chance to make mistakes too. I mean, consider this question for a moment. Let's just say that your mum had it her way. What job do you think she would have picked for you? What partner would she have married you off to? How many kids do you think that she wanted you to have? Let's just say she got to decide. Would it look different from what you have now? And the same when it comes to your dad. If he had it his way, what career do you think that he would have chosen for you? What house do you think that you'd be living in right now if he picked it for you? How much money would you be earning if your dad was the decision maker there and sent you in a particular career? Would it be different from what you have now? But would you even be happy if you allowed your mum and dad to dictate all the decisions, to make all those decisions for you in life? Probably not. Okay, because we need to learn through our own life experience. We need to do that for ourselves, and our kids need to do that too. We can, of course, support them and be there for them, but a lot of those steps that they take as teens and young adults is going to be without you holding their hand, without you pushing them in a particular direction. And think about it now, like, have both your parents approved of every friend, every relationship, every decision that you've made in life? I didn't think so. So a so-called bad parent, which we really know isn't so bad, knows that all we can do is steer our kids in the right direction. But after that, it's not our choices to make. And I want to leave you with just one little quote by Dennis Watley. I absolutely love this one. As he so wisely said, the greatest gifts that you can give your children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence. So my friend, I've absolutely loved sharing this with you. I love the fact that it still resonates with me so deeply, even years after I wrote this particular book. If you want to learn more from me, make sure to check out my course, Be a Better Parent in 30 Days. You can find it on inspiringmomlife.com under the shop tab. And until next time, I can't wait to catch you in the next episode. There's just one more chapter that I'll be sharing with you, and it is a great one. Until then, have the most amazing day. Thank you so much for listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast. I really appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your life. If you'd love to stay in touch, please know that you can always find me on Instagram at Vidakovic, or you can visit my website, inspiringmomlife.com, where you can sign up and receive so many amazing freebies that I've created just for you to help you implement all my teachings into practice. There you'll also find all my online courses, resources and programs that I've created to help you up-level your life in seriously the simplest way possible, so that you can ultimately create for yourself a life that feels simpler, lighter, and allows you to show up in a way that you love as your best and most authentic version of yourself. Now remember, this podcast is all about not just dreaming but also doing, because to create true sustainable change in your life, you need to be willing to do things differently. And that's what I'm here to support you to do every single step along the way, so that you too can begin to live your one wild and precious life with less stress, less overwhelm, less drama, and instead with zero regrets. Finally, if this podcast resonates with you at all and you appreciate the content, I would absolutely love for you to show your support by leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm on a mission to help more people wake up to the preciousness of life and to help them live their days with more intention and purpose, and your review will help make this goal of mine possible. Well, once again, thank you so much. I have loved spending this time with you, and I look forward to connecting with you again. I am Vidakovic, and you have been listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast.